Of course.
Okay, recording has now started. Please, Mr. Hoogenboom, introduce yourself and start with your session.
Okay, hello everyone. Before I even introduce myself, I am sorry for this meeting. I do have a hard deadline. I have an appointment with my physical therapist. If you doubt me, all you have to do is look at my left hamstring, which unfortunately I tore back in March, and I'm still doing physical therapy. So I will leave at 3:15. So I will not be taking any questions. But if you do have questions, please put them in the chat. Make sure that Mrs. Scott, Mrs. Brown, or Mrs. Attwood have them, and they will pass them on to me. And I will have time this evening at 6 o'clock for the second meeting. But so right now, all I want to say is how happy I am that we have started the school year. It's just great to see your students. Someone told me that I said it was infectious, which was a bad choice of words. We hope it won't be infectious, and we are taking all kinds of precautions to make sure that your child remains safe, to make sure that the teachers remain safe. As a matter of fact, we just had testing today, the random testing. They requested that we test 130 students. And we did that, and it was very, very well organized. And on Tuesday we're going to have a visit. Central is a little bit concerned because some of you on social media have seen pictures of different high schools and how sometimes they look chaotic. The superintendent will be visiting us on Tuesday simply to see our systems. And in the meeting I had with him this morning, he said that he's concerned about signage. He's concerned about how students move through the building. And I can assure you that Assistant Principal Sean O'Connor has done a wonderful job with the signage, with making sure that students keep on moving. It's some of the old-fashioned things, such as an up staircase and a down staircase. And that way the students aren't just breathing on each other. And as they're moving, they're breathing on their backs, which is a lot safer, obviously, if everyone is going in the same direction. I know at the school leadership team, there was a rather spirited discussion on compliance as far as the students wearing masks. The UFT chapter chair seemed to think our compliance was low. I asked Mr. O'Connor to take him with him to a number of classes. They visited a number of classes yesterday to check on the mask compliance. And our students are doing a very, very good job. There are a few students who might be wearing a mask sort of as a chin strap or as a mouth thing, but when we tell them to lift it to their nose. Another thing that came up, and I want to tell every parent about this, is food, lunch. We have scheduled as few students for lunch as possible. And that is because if we pack students into the lunchroom, they will not be able to practice social distancing and not wear masks because they're eating. So grab and go lunch is available for everyone, but not just at the end of the day. If your child, if anyone is hungry, they can grab one of these grab and go lunches and eat it in their classroom. Now, everything is a compromise because, of course, while they're eating it, they're going to have their mask off, but we'll have them sit in a corner away from other people so they can eat and they won't be hungry. The order of the day for all of this is risk reduction. We can never take all risk out of our lives. We know that, right? We take showers. You can slip and crack your head open. We cross the street. We go in cars. We try to minimize the risk, right? If you have a shower mat, you only cross with the light, for instance. So I'm not saying we're never going to have any cases of the coronavirus, but I am saying that we are doing our utmost to keep everyone as safe as possible through social distancing, through wearing masks, through reminding everyone that we're a community and we have to keep safe. There are the rules are getting really interesting. We understand that if teachers are not vaccinated and do not have a medical exemption, they will have to go to another site and not come to school. Now, dealing with teachers, you should understand my life because you all deal with teenagers. And teenagers love to play chicken with you. They love to, like, you know, not do something or act as if they're not going to do something and wait and see what you're doing. So we do have a list of teachers who are not compliant. Most of them are playing chicken. Most of them are going to get the vaccination Monday morning so they can still come to work. Some of them won't, right? And the ones who won't, I am not going to worry about. It's not my job. And also, to be quite honest, if you aren't willing to be vaccinated, you must not really want to teach anyways. So I see that as a plus, to be brutally honest. If you don't want to work, don't work, go. So there might be one or two teachers. I don't think they're going to be very many. I'm honestly not very worried about that. I have 2 more minutes. I can natter on, but I really don't want to fill the space. I do want to say how much I enjoy your children, how lonely I was last year, and how happy I am that we are back at school where we are a true community, because I know for PTA meetings, for SLT meetings, Zoom is nice, but for teaching and learning, in person is best. So I'm just happy to be in the building, and I am so glad that your children are with me and with the other teachers at Abraham Lincoln High School.
All right, thank you very much. I know usually you do Q&A, but because you have that other location you need to go to, we'll take you up on that offer at 6 p.m. So if anybody wants to come in at least the first 40 minutes of our second session, he will definitely repeat what he stated and this time stay for Q&A.
And just to add, Mrs. Scott, Mrs. Brown, and Mrs. Attwood are very, very good at sending me emails. So if you pass a question on to them, I guarantee you it'll come to me, and we will do our very best to answer it.
And Mr. Robinson is on as well. So hopefully when we do Q&A towards the end of this meeting, he'll be able to assist.
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll see you at 6 o'clock.
All right, have a great meeting.
You too. I mean, have a good day.
Okay, yeah, with my physical therapist, who's actually a sadist, right? All good physical therapists are
All right, see you later.
horrible people, right? Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, Mr. Robinson, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Mr. Robinson, I'm Assistant Principal of Guidance. It's been a great start to the year. I'm so happy to see all of you here. I just want to share a few things that we're doing at Lincoln to be ready for bringing back our students. And we're so excited to have our students back. And we're ready for everything that brings, from the academics to the social emotional piece that we put a few new programs in place for. So I just wanted to share a few of those things. The first program in place is SEL curriculum that's being pushed into content areas. So every week, one content area, math, social studies, science, or English, is doing a social emotional lesson integrated into the content area to make sure we're building community, and from a strong community, we build social emotional skills like listening, conflict, mental health. All those things are incorporated in the curriculum throughout the year. And the other initiative is a Lincoln Somebody. So at Lincoln, we always say everybody has a somebody. And this year we created new positions within the school of specific Lincoln Somebodies that have a cohort of students of between 150 to 200 students. And they're pushing into the specialized programs like vet science or photo or digital media. to getting to know the students, build relationships, and just kind of be their person at Lincoln whenever there's a problem, or help them get to that next level, or help them if they fall, and just be there for them. What we've seen over the years is our academics have improved when we focus on not just academics, but also the whole child. So we have those initiatives in addition to our mental health support team. And of course, I'm always available to students or parents also.
Okay, thank you. Please note that if anybody has any questions, we're gonna go and refer it towards the end of the meeting, unless it's something very imperative or relevant for the time session that somebody is talking. That's just so all the speakers can get through. But continue annotating your chats your questions in the chat, and we'll definitely pick it up. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Mr. Robinson, thank you so much. And I don't believe there's any other teachers at the moment, so we're gonna continue on. Reading of the minutes. Last time we had a meeting, it was in June, so I'm gonna have Mr. Jones just briefly read off some key points. You can always find our minutes within the Abraham Lincoln High School website under the PTA parent section. Mr. Jones?
PTA general minutes for 6/10/21, 6:08 p.m. Principal Ari Hoogenboom addresses PTA. Students are the most important people in the building. All the teachers who have the day-to-day interaction with the students are the second most important people in the building. And all of the rest of us are there to support the teachers and the students and create true learning atmosphere, an atmosphere where everyone lost it, sorry. Somebody change the slide.
I'm sorry, do you want me to go back or forward?
He's muted. I'm not quite sure.
All right.
Oh, I'll go back. I'm sorry.
Go back? Okay, no problem. Sorry about that.
An atmosphere where everyone can true learning, an atmosphere where everyone is cared for. Can you change the slide, please? In June, the following regions exams was canceled for June. Algebra 2, geometry, chemistry, physics, global history, and geography. United States history and government. Waivers are available for all regions. Waivers. They can use the waiver toward graduation requirements and are not required to pass that region's exam. To be eligible for a region exam waiver in June, or August. Students must pass the course sequence leading up. I'm sorry, give me 1 minute.
No problem. I'll go through this very quickly. Most of the information was from June when it was relevant for the June timeframe. So there were certain regents that were canceled. And for those who wanted to go and take the test or did not want to take those tests, they can go and put waivers in. We also discussed some aspects of the teachers' corner where teachers went and discussed certain important areas such as NX deadlines for those students who had not passed, as well as the parent EBTs, the pandemic EBT card as to when it was going to be full, and just quick information for graduation, as well as summer school. So if you want full details of the June minutes, again, it's under the Abraham Lincoln High School PTA website. All right, next, we're going to have Ms. Fontana speak about some new training aspects and discuss some training aspects for the students, as well as help the parents get through a few things.
Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to go over a couple of things that are new in terms of technology. First, did Mr. Robinson already go over your New York City student accounts?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. My understanding is that Mr. Robinson is going to go over with you guys about how to set up your New York City student accounts. Those are your parent accounts. You actually need an access code from the school. That doesn't run through my office. That actually runs through Mr. Robinson's office. So I wouldn't be able to help you with that. But as a parent, I have been kind of poking. Oh, Dave's here. So maybe Dave should go first.
Sure. So the New York City students account, all parents should really be registered for this account. It gives you access to student report cards. You can actually change your phone number in there and it updates our system. And it seems like every month that goes by, they're adding more functions to this New York City schools account. And I think the goal is that that's going to be our one-stop shop for all of your needs. So it's important that you have your New York City schools account. If you don't have your New York City schools account, I need to give you a letter that has your activation code. So I'm gonna, in the chat here, I'm gonna post the form that you can fill out for me so I can get you that letter to activate. Another thing of the New York City schools account is the consent for vaccination is on there. I think the military opt-out letter is also on there. Once you're in 11th and 12th grade, you can see your child's transcript on there, and transcripts since the pandemic. Any agency needing proof of that a student is enrolled, they're now accepting transcripts and report cards. So you could do yourself a big favor and just get all the documentation you need in one place. So I'm gonna post that link in the chat over here. And if you need your letter to register your account, just fill out the form and we'll get it to you. I see a question specifically about the accounts. The accounts should carry over. You shouldn't have to do anything. You should be able to log in, and the new school, our Lincoln should be there. And I'll pass it back to Ms. Fontana.
Okay, so once you do have access to your school account, you will be able to reset your child's password for their DOE account. That has been probably our largest pain point at this point. We're getting about 100 tickets a day from students just requesting password resets. So I'm going to show you how to get that done. I don't know if I could share my screen. Just give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm using a borrowed computer. Oh, I'm gonna have to sign right back in.
All right, I also put the link for the My Schools account in the chat. If anybody wants to try to look at it now. There she is. Hold on 1 second while she gets situated.
Okay. So I should be able to share my screen now.
Yeah, I also made you co-host and I stopped sharing my screen, so you should be able to flip over.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so your portal looks like this. It's basically just schoolsaccount.nyc. If you go to Google and just type in New York City, like NYC school account or student account, it should be like the first thing that pops up. I never remember the website address either. So I'm going to sign in here. If you do work for the DOE, you cannot use your DOE email for your parent account, just so you guys know. Okay, hold on, let's get rid of that. Okay, so here I am. So this is my school's account for my daughter, right? You see her here, Josie, right? It's not necessarily all that intuitive. Again, like what Mr. Robinson was saying, it is supposed to be one-stop shopping, and they just kind of keep throwing tools in here. You can now fill out your blue card through here. You can see the report card, right? Like I was able to get my daughter's report cards here. If you have any kind of IEP or busing situation, right, that's all included here. But from your dashboard here, here in this little gear for settings, you can click this. And then here you can actually go to the student password. And it's super easy. All you have to do is just select your child. And then you just retype in the password twice and you're good to go, right? You just hit save. And it's really just that simple. And being able to reset your child's password means that you can do it at 11 o'clock at night when your kid doesn't remember what their password is and has something due in the morning. So that's pretty helpful. Instead of having to put in a ticket and wait, we've been able to get to tickets anywhere between 3 to 24 hours later. So we're having a really quick turnaround time in terms of students that need help. Right, so does anybody have any questions just specifically about resetting a student password? I don't see the chat, so if there's something in the chat, if someone can just let me know.
There is one question. It's just not in regards to the password, but the question from Marcellus is this the same site where we received acceptance for the schools?
I'm not quite sure. I don't, my daughter's in first grade, so I don't really know all that much about it.
It's not the same site as My Schools.
Okay.
My Schools does all the enrollment. So it is a different site and a different account.
I see someone has their hand raised.
Miss Lorena? Miss Lorena, do you have a question in regards to the account? Your hand is raised. Okay.
Hi, I can step in. I think Miss Lorena speaks Spanish. Señora Lorena. Si tiene una pregunta, por favor, hágala ahora.
Can you, if that is in fact, can you have, she can put her question in the chat too, if she doesn't want, if she can't say it out loud. You can
So
tell her.
the other thing
I'll
that
do that.
the other thing that I did want to share with everybody is if you or your child are having an issue, you can always head over to our Students Tech Help Desk. There's also a Parents Tech Help Desk. It's basically the same, they link to the same page. So the student one is the one that we probably keep the most updated. When you're here, there is a form that you can fill out to request help. Again, this brings it into our student tech ticket system, and you usually receive a response back within 24 hours. So anything that you have, any kind of problem with your iPad or your laptop, if you're having problems using any of the programs, or you're having a problem with your New York City DOE accounts, we ask that students go through the school before reaching out to Central or to DIIT or to the help desk at Central, because typically we can respond within a few hours, whereas the help desk will take maybe a week or two to actually respond to tickets. If a student is having any difficulty with using Microsoft Teams, there are tons of tutorials here. Many of these are videos that were created by teachers here on staff, showing students how to walk through things. Right, you'll see some here. Okay. So there are places for the students to go if they do need any help. Unfortunately, at this point, we're still waiting for a shipment of devices from the city. The city is planning on going one-to-one and are planning on shipping out a device for every student that does not have one. We have not received that shipment yet. And as soon as we do receive that shipment, we will start distribution to students. Are there any questions in terms of the tech help desk?
And there's nothing in the chat yet, Ms. Fontana.
So
I actually do have a question, but it wasn't about that part. How does a parent, especially ninth grade parents, how do the ninth grade parents notify you that their child needs a computer?
So right now, we are not accepting any requests for devices. We've already identified all of the students. We keep a record of which students have which devices. We received incoming ninth grade data from Central. So we have already identified all of the students that need a device. At this current time, it's over 900 students in the building need a device. So once we start, so we do not need students to identify themselves. We have already identified them. Right. And we've asked students not to put tickets in through the ticket system because it's just clogging up our ticket system. And then we're taking time responding to tickets saying, hey, we don't have any devices, instead of like actually getting to students that we can help with right now. Okay, and then lastly, I just want to plug our student workshops. We typically, so there's an ed tech team in the building. Teachers from each department participate in terms of making decisions around technology and classroom tools and devices that we use and all of those kinds of things. And one of the things that we really noticed last year was that students really needed help with digital literacy. So we started providing student workshops back in the spring of 2020. These workshops were virtual. We did them last year monthly, providing just support in terms of like how to send an email, how do I sign up for PupilPath, basic teams, class notebook, all the kinds of tools that the kids could use. So we're going to bring these, we're going to continue offering these monthly. We're going to offer them in the building. So students can come period 9 or after school from 3:30 to 4:15. For September, that's next week, next Thursday, next Thursday. We are providing 2 different workshops. One is specifically geared towards 9th graders, working on, getting onto Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Teams basics and PupilPath. And then the other one is more about, how to navigate your platforms, file organization, and tools that older students need, especially students that have already, been here for a while and can navigate the way around Teams and PupilPath.
I know this is the PTA president. I know that last year you did something similar for the parents.
Yes.
I know that didn't quite, I know that wasn't quite successful, but for the parents that did attend, it helped a lot. Do you think you might do that again, maybe towards the end of this year, beginning of January?
Sure, if that's something requested and you can put together a list of people that are interested, I would be more than happy to provide those things, in the evening as well.
Perfect. If there's no other questions for Ms. Fontana, I would actually like Ms. Fontana to maybe just do a nice introduction of yourself and what exactly do you do? I know other than technical stuff, you do quite a few things at the school, so I'd love to hear more about you.
So I've been at Lincoln since 2006. I was a teacher here from 2009 until 2015. And 2015, I became the assistant principal of the math department. Under the math department, I also supervise 4 of our specialized programs. So that includes our virtual enterprise program, the digital media program, our computer science program, which I actually built myself here, and our internship program. On top of all of those other things, I also supervise all of the tech in the building, including our IT department. And that's about it.
All right, if there are no questions, thank you, Ms. Fontana. I know that you have a very short time span, but I appreciate the time. And if anyone just happens to have questions, she will be back on around 6:15 to go through the same session one more time.
Okay, it was nice to see you all. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Fontana.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Please do not forget, if you have any questions or concerns, please put them in the chat. If we don't refer to them right away, it's because we're going to be using them towards the end of the session. So please bear with us. All right, the next will be the treasurer's report. Ms. Attwood or Mr. Sandor, go ahead.
I guess I will jump in. I'm not sure if Mr. Sandor is still there. Our starting balance as of June 1st of before last month of the school year was $1,017.84. We did award $200 for students at the end of the year. We had some contributions over the summer, and our ending balance as of August 31st was $907.25. We also have an online fundraising. We usually ask parents if they can contribute $5 at each meeting, or you can just opt out of donation and give $50 ahead of time, or really any amount that you feel comfortable with. We're going to post the Cheddar Up online PTA fundraising link in the chat room. So you can click there and donate, what you can feel comfortable. And I don't know if there are any questions. Feel free to ask questions about Treasurer's report, either in person, or if you feel more comfortable, put it in the chat, and we will try to answer every question.
All right, nothing heard. I'm going to move on. Thank you very much. Secretarial team, I'm not sure which one of you who will be speaking.
Ms. Sandor, do you want to take the lead and I'll jump in?
Yeah, I can do this. Just a quick update. The PTA has some welcome letters prepared and actually sent to Mr. Robinson to circulate to the parents with the details on signing up for the PTA. Everyone is automatically a member, but we'd just like to have you register with all your contact information so that we can send you all the details of our meetings automatically. So those should be going out shortly. There's also a letter for the teachers because we are indeed a PTA. So would like to make sure that the teachers and staff at the school who are eligible can also be an active part of the PTA. As an ongoing project this year, Ms. Medina is going to be taking a look at the school website, which was recently updated at the very end of last school year. It was the format changed significantly, and some of the pieces I think might need a little bit of updates, and she's going to be taking a look at that and making sure that everything is updated and everything is where it should be in terms of the PTA site, at least. There is one also, I know Mr. Robinson, the teacher contact directory was something that we had mentioned, and I know I think you're working on getting that updated because it's not yet complete for every teacher.
Yes, and I was just, sorry.
No, but we're working on those two things as the team of Secretary Ms. Medina and myself, and as well as other projects that will come up during the year. Did you want to say something, Ms. Medina, before we go to the next slide?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's in the next slide. Just really important that with the update on the website, there's now the translation tool. So if any of the parents have another primary language, it's usually in the top left of the screen of the ALHS website. So feel free to use that. And shortly, I actually have a meeting with Mr. Robinson next week. So we will be discussing some of these things to have it updated as quickly as possible. I think we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
Right, this is just a little preview. We're gonna try to hold a vote later on towards the end of the meeting. We just wanted to standardize the way that the association's name is displayed. There was a lot of different documentation that we inherited last year that had various stylings of the actual name. So we're just taking a vote with the membership, making sure that everyone is in agreement that we can standardize it to Abraham Lincoln High School Parent Teacher Association as shown there. It's been appearing as different ways. The IRS and bank documentation is our legal name with the like the federal number associated with it and everything for the bank, and that can't be changed at this time because that's a lot more complicated. So that will remain PTA of Lincoln High School, but this is just dealing with the name that we're using on all of our letterhead and the website and that sort of thing. So we'll take I believe a voice vote or later on, I think is how we decided we would do this. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I think we can just move on. Does anybody have any questions on any of that?
There is no question on your report, but there are a couple questions in the chat rooms, which I have answered via chat, but probably should be voiced out for people who don't read chat. We don't have to do it now. I just wanted to raise that to Ms. Scott's attention.
Yes, we'll hold that towards the end because it was a two-part question, and I want to make sure that Mr. Robinson has time to answer that. So we'll hold off just a few more moments.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to Treasurer and Secretarial team. You guys are always keeping me on my toes, so I appreciate the time on putting that information together. So President report, honestly, the team has already provided quite a bit of information, so I thank them. There's a lot of changes constantly occurring. We're on constant meetings with the school as well as at district level. And as we get the information, we try to put it out there either via email to the families of emails that we do have, because we're not allowed to get the emails from the school. We have to only be allowed to get the emails from the families that provide it to us, or through Facebook. And we took a hiatus for a couple of weeks only because the information that was out there was constantly changing every 2 hours. Now things seem to be a little calmer, so we'll be able to go and post out information. I try very hard on Facebook not to put out news. I try to keep it only from the DOE perspective, as well as I think the closest thing to news I'll go for is maybe Chalk Beat. Other than that, also from the school itself, they'll let us know some information that pertains to the school. Other than that, there's not much more in the president's report, so I'm going to move on. Finance team, they pretty much already provided details, but I know that they were thinking of putting some committees together, one being a fundraising committee. I'm not quite sure if anybody has any interest in that, but Ms. Attwood, if you can provide some details on and some thoughts about a fundraising committee. I know that Ms. Brown is leading that off and on. I try to keep pulling her in, but Ms. Attwood, if you can provide some details on that, and if you have any other committees that you'd like to put together.
Yes, so we'd like to start a finance committee so we can start fundraising with our alumni. We have, you know, Abraham Lincoln is a very established and old school and a large school. So we have thousands upon thousands of alumni, and I don't think we've really reached out yet, but we would like to come up with a plan on how we can reach out to alumni and how we can, you know, raise funds and maybe have homecoming events. And so I would like to invite anyone who's, you know, on this call, if they are interested in, you know, joining the board, and if they want to become more involved, if they want to be part of committee, to just step forward. We are really looking forward to having more people. Right now, there's 8 of us on the executive boards, but there's always room for good people who are interested. So, you know, don't be shy. There's a lot of things we can do or could do if we had more people. And if you're interested in participating, I really would like to encourage everyone to do that. Mr. Sandor, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's we always are welcoming new parents, parent voices, parent feedback. No question. And certainly fundraising is a vehicle for which we can put our ideas into to practice. So absolutely, anyone who's interested in helping out even a little bit would be gratefully appreciated.
Even if you just want more information, you can definitely put your name in the chat, or just say, you know, I'm interested. Just type I'm interested in the chat, and then we can, the teams can, hey, Mr. Sandor, and the teams can
absolutely.
Yes. I see someone already said that they're interested. We appreciate that.
Just drop your email address privately to myself or Ms. Attwood.
Already did it, I see.
Okay.
But
Wonderful.
No,
Thank you.
it's okay. Some people are private about their email, so that's why I said you can send it privately to us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll make sure to go and annotate that, and one of the finance team will definitely reach out to you. And if there's any other committees that haven't been mentioned and you know worked real well in your school or heard about in other schools, please let us know. Okay. I'm gonna move on. Actually, I'm gonna hold for a moment because there's about 5 questions that have popped up in reference to lunch, and I don't want to lose track of those questions.
I got it.
Mr. Capizzo or Mr. Robinson. Is Mr. Robinson on, or did he drop off?
Let me double check.
I
believe he's gone.
No, I'm on.
Okay.
So one of the questions,
if you want to answer some of these questions, I believe you're on the phone. So Ms. Attwood, can you, I guess before we ask the question, Mr. Robinson, can you explain the lunch process? And then Ms. Attwood will fill you in on the questions because they're very concerning.
And Mr. Robinson, who are you? I mean, sorry, Mr. Capizzo, when everyone speaks, just say who you are so everyone can know.
Sorry, guys. I don't get out of work till 3:30, so I just jumped on. I have a very late schedule this year, fortunately. Hi, everyone. My name is Mr. Capizzo, I am a Lincoln somebody for the PTA. I am one of the, I guess, liaisons to reach out to for any questions or any concerns for PTA. And I am here on behalf of the school, one of the faculty members. I am a 9th grade algebra teacher. So any 9th grade parents here, I might have your child, I might not. Anything else? This is, I think, what is this, year 5 for me doing this? So I've been doing this for a while.
But this is your
so yeah,
promotion to somebody.
I'm a somebody now instead of just Capizzo. Yes. So yeah, we do have a couple questions I see here about lunch. So yeah, Mr. Robinson.
Just stick to just the lunch questions. Everything else we'll refer to the end. But
That's
because
fine.
so many people asked about lunch, I want to take a break on that and let's answer those, please.
That's fine. Mr. Robinson, do you want to explain, if you're there, how the lunch is going right now? What's the plan for students right now?
Yeah, sure. I think Mr. Hoogenboom spoke to it a little bit. For the majority of our students, they're getting grab and go lunches at the beginning of the day, at the end of their day. And we also have breakfast available, period 1 and 2 in the beginning of the day down in the cafeteria. For students who want a lunch, who need a lunch to break up their day, we are giving lunch for those students. They just need to talk to their guidance counselor to ask for lunch, and we'll make the adjustment on their schedule. We made this decision so that we could keep social distancing in the cafeteria and keep everybody safe. I've been down to the caf for a lot of these lunches. Students are 3 feet apart, and even more than 3 feet apart. Because if you think about it, we used to have like 500 students in the cafeteria, and now we have less than 100 students in the cafeteria eating lunch. So in that regards, it's been very successful. Were there specific questions on lunch?
Yes, Ms. Attwood, can you read each question?
Of course.
And Mr. Robinson, hold your comments until after she's read these questions.
Yeah. So there's a question. The first question is, I am concerned my daughter is not receiving lunch. She came home with a tummy ache last week. When will grab and go become available? The second question is, my daughter tried to grab lunch several times and the coolers were empty each time she got there. So it seems there's 2 issues. One, that some students might not know that there's grab and go already, and others might be that when they do come, there's no more lunches. Mr. Robinson, do you want to answer both of these questions?
Sure. So like I said, if a student really needs lunch, we can add it to their schedule. The grab and go lunches are available at the main and on the exit on West Avenue. I've never seen them running low at the main through the main entrance. So I would suggest exiting there if the student when they're exiting, if they don't have lunches at the other exit. But I'm also going to follow up to make sure the West Avenue exit is fully stocked.
Thank you. And just to reiterate, there's really two things that can be done. One, if your student is not scheduled for a lunch period, they can reach out to their guidance counselor and change their schedule so that they can have lunch in the cafeteria, or just make sure that your student knows that there is lunch to go when they leave the school. And then if the cooler is empty, there are other coolers by the main entrance, which will have lunches there. But at the same time, Mr. Robinson, you're going to check to make sure that there's enough lunch for everyone at either exit. Yes?
Yes. Yep, that's correct.
Wonderful. So a couple more follow-up questions have come through. kids are directed to the side exit for distancing purposes. So I guess it would be very difficult for them to just backtrack and go to the main exit. And then one of the parents who'd asked the initial question, he said, that is my daughter's problem. She is not sent through an exit that has lunch. So I'm not sure which exit that would be. Are there exits out of the building that do not have grab and go bags currently, Mr. Robinson?
I'm pretty sure all the exits that we direct students to do have the grab and goes, but I can make sure that they're fully stocked, like I said.
I'm going to interject something personal here because my daughter has exited the school without lunch. And then she changed her schedule and now she has a lunch period. But she said that both times that before she did that, both times the exit that she was directed to did not have grab and go bags. So there must at least be one exit that doesn't have lunch. And I see that Miss Sandor just posted exit 2 does not have lunch.
Exit 2, okay. I'll follow up with that.
Thank you very much. Are there more follow-up questions for, just on that subject of lunch? Or do we have a plan and everyone is covered? All right, I'm gonna take that as we're good. Ms. Scott, do you wanna take the meeting back?
Yep, thank you very much. Thank you, team, for allowing me just to pause for a moment with the meeting. I felt that was very, very important, especially since now I'm hungry. All right, Title I committee report. This is actually, we have a team, again, will be Ms. Brown. She'll discuss this a bit further, but we would like to go and do voting next, this upcoming October for anyone that may be interested in being part of the Title I committee. Ms. Brown, if you can go ahead and discuss what Title I is.
Okay, so to be frank, Title I, well, let me just say that Title I is basically where we as a school, Abraham Lincoln, we want to help out our parents per se, and have different little workshops and try to give back to you, basically. Resources, if we can, workshops to help parents, whatever comes about. It's just, funding that we're allowed to do different things. So we want to give back to you, if that kind of makes it simplified, just to bring it in, or should I elaborate? I think that's my summarization. Like, it's just to give, so many schools, many public schools or whatever have Title I funding. It's a program that's basically to give our school, Abraham Lincoln's a Title I school for starters, where we would like to have workshop sessions to, I'm coming back off of a hiatus, so I'm trying to get it together to give to the parents. So we would like for you, like for parents, as we've done in the past, a little bit like, in the sense of giving back is like, if there's something that's concerning to a parent, so say for instance that like parents are not sure about having about understanding graduation requirements during the past year we had, like for pandemic and certain things like that, or regions, certain issues like that. That's what we mean, like, we would have like different workshops to kind of assist you, to like stress management, mental health type of workshops. These are items or topics that we wanted to have workshops done before, but due to the pandemic, certain things got pushed around. So just like resources. And before I started on the PTA, a year before that, so it's like my second year, there was a vote on different topics. And these are the topics that I'm mentioning, like unemployment resources, stress management, mental health.
Join the meeting.
Workshops to just help you, go through certain issues you may be having with your child, or understanding the school function. say for instance, it was a workshop just about understanding the pupil path, the website, certain things like that we'd like to do. So that's where we've just narrowed it out. It's just resource sessions for parents, financial literacy resource, anything that can help you as a parent. That's really where we've, in my opinion, we've just narrowed it around, unless someone else wants to chime in. Anyone else wants to chime in and be more roundabout or speak about something else?
No, I think that's good. We'll send out more details of what a Title I committee is. It was hard last year due to the pandemic to actually bring this in, but the DOE does provide funding. And then based on the criteria of the funding being spent, we are then able to go and spend it on specific training. This year, maybe we can bring in some social emotional learning, specific for the parents. We'll also, I believe, may be able, and our family ambassador will be able to discuss that in her next slide. When her slide pops up, we'll be able to go and bring in some funds for that. It will be a group discussion with the Title I, who will then present it to the PTA. And based off the PTA, we will be allowed to see what training we could bring in. It's for the parents. And I believe there's also be an ability to bring in tutors if that funding is available.
So basically, like, educational resources is kind of what I was trying to skim around, doing 2-3 things at the same time, and I apologize, but yeah.
No problem.
And we'd love for people, families, parents, you may have ideas. Well, not you may have, I guarantee you that I know you have ideas. And we would love for you to share them and let us know how we can help you better be more involved and understand the Abraham Lincoln High School, the whole community.
All right. Thank you so much. If there's no questions about Title I, I'm going to
There
move
was a
on.
question in the chat about Title I. A parent asked when Ms. Brown talked about giving back, what that was exactly, what sorts of things are available. And I'm not sure if Ms. Brown addressed it. It sounds to me like she answered. Basically, we're trying to answer parents' needs. So it's flexible and changes year by year. But if that person has a question, maybe that would be a good point to talk. Or if you have more questions, or if you feel that you still have questions about Title I, was that presentation clear enough, or do you want to know more?
Can I say something? It was me.
Of course, yeah.
How are you?
Oh.
Hi, my name is Tomas. I'm actually at work, so I'm kind of dividing my time here. As Ms. Brown, I believe that's her name, Ms. Brown, was describing the program, I'm starting to familiarize myself yet again of what Title I entails and what it encompasses. But I'm sure, I don't want to take up the time about Title I, but I understand it's a very important component in giving services or having services, and also with the students. So I'm looking forward to actually learning some more about Title I and see how the parents can understand more about what it is and how it can be very helpful and useful for the school as a whole. So my student's a freshman, so he's actually very excited about this year. So I'm very excited myself. So, anyway.
Awesome, and welcome.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
A lot of noise back here, sorry.
I see there is another question about guidance counselors. I'm gonna hold that just a little bit longer. All right, Family Healing Ambassador Report. I have been waiting to hear about this all summer. Miss Medina, welcome, congratulations. I know it was a rough summer with all that training. It's a new program, so Miss Medina, have at it.
The absolute last, well, actually not the last training, but one of the last trainings was I was on my birthday. So that's how much I'm committed to this. So the Family Healing Ambassador is a new initiative that is centered around mental health. And the reason why our school was picked is because we were one of the zip codes really heavily impacted by COVID. So I will be doing a workshop most likely next month. I would like to have it after a week after our general meeting, which is October 21st. So a week after that, hopefully around October 28th. Most likely it will be virtual. I'll be discussing with Mr. Robinson on Monday how we go about the logistics of this. I want to send out a survey to the families so that you can help me pick out the final topic. Actually, my final training is on Tuesday. So it could be self-care, it could be about mental health, it could be about resources that you need at the school. If there's a topic that you really want to know more about, the DOE is going to help us put those resources together, and I will be presenting that information to all of you. I'm only required to do one presentation, minimum 45 minutes, but depending on how this goes, I'm willing to do another one if there's other topics that the families really want to know about. Yeah, and there was a lot of training. It was about trauma and healing, and the school obviously has some programs that have been implemented, like the new one, a Lincoln Somebody, and we're hoping that with this initiative we can continue to build on that, and just be on the lookout for that information that's coming out soon.
Will you also be creating a committee, or is this just the one woman show? Excuse me.
Well, as part of the PTA as well, I don't think a committee is necessary at the moment. Maybe after Monday that will change after I speak with Mr. Robinson, but I don't think so. But I definitely welcome the support. I know I have the support of the PTA in putting all of this together. Obviously, I'll need somebody who can man the technology and just field questions and things like that. There was an option to do it in person as well. I don't think that will be a possibility at the moment, but maybe in the future, if we get to do another one, most likely the first one will be virtual. But yeah, at the moment, I don't think we need a committee, but that can change. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Again, congratulations. She came in as a brand new person onto our PTA, and then she got tossed into Family Healing Ambassador, and she is definitely the right person for this position. So thank you for taking the time and volunteering. I know it was a lot of hours, and I'm looking forward to that seminar next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
And more information on that, we will have flyers going out via email once that information has been locked in. Thank you. My other favorite slide, Teacher's Corner. Mr. Capizzo, hopefully you're still on and we didn't lose you, unless he stepped away. Mr. Capizzo?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
there we go. So we
sorry.
created this
Yeah.
Teacher's Corner because the whole
I
point
know.
of the PTA is parents, teachers. So we want to make sure we have a collaboration where it's not just the voice of the parents, but also the voice of the teachers. Mr. Capizzo, who is our favorite somebody, only because he's the only one that gets crucified to come to these meetings. Thank you very much. He collects all the information that he gets from all the teachers, and he provides that information to us, whether it be about senior trips, senior information, freshman gathering, regions programs. He tries to gather all that information, and what he doesn't know, he will gather that and get back to us with responses. So he is our middle person. Unfortunately, our parent coordinator has stepped away, and then we're looking for a new parent coordinator. Am I correct, Mr. Capizzo?
Yes.
So that will take some time. In the meantime, though he's not the parent coordinator, he will be the somebody. So Mr. Capizzo, take that away, explain what the somebody is one more time, and go on with your Teacher Corner.
No problem. Don't mind me. I'm just snacking for a second. Now, all right. So Lincoln Somebody. So Lincoln Somebody is somebody that you can reach out to. Lincoln Somebody was started. We have this model at our school. Everyone has a somebody. So the students always had somebody to reach out to, right? And the way that the Lincoln Somebody works is that you should always feel like there's someone you can talk to, any questions, any of that stuff. So we've done that this year for the kids. And now my responsibility is I'm the Lincoln Somebody for PTA, where, you know, if PTA has any questions or concerns, they can reach out to me directly. They can talk to me about anything going on. And then I can pass on any information to help you answer your question. I can't solve anything. I could just pass on the information to the best that I can. Now, as far as Teacher Corner is something for all of you parents to know what's going on in the classroom. If there's anything exciting coming up, anything for you guys to know, we like to share that with you guys and give you, you know, any bits of information just to make it be a little break for you guys. Right now, I'll be 100% honest with you. All the teachers are right now just trying to get used to being back in the building. And I'm sure your students, your children are also trying to get back into the building. So whatever way that your kids are feeling right now, we are in the same boat as you guys, how we feel. So that's first. Second off, what I will tell you is that if there's any of your kids who are having any difficulty with getting on Pupil Path, please reach out to your guidance counselor or even one of the teachers. They can give you guys the code so they can get signed up on Pupil Path. You can always, you know, message me if you need the code, not only for the student, but also the parent. So then you can have your own account so you can check in on your students' grades as well. As far as with Teams, because we are on the Teams platform, please make sure, you know, if your student still has any difficulty, you join our workshop next Thursday. That would be absolutely perfect. As far as I see in the chat, Miss Scott mentioned guidance counselors. So guidance counselors, every student that comes into Lincoln has the same guidance counselor for the next 4 years. So this year, for 9th grade, it's Miss Lambert. For 10th grade, it's Miss Felser. For 11th grade, it's Miss Severa Watson. For 12th grade, it is Mr. Brian Vega. And then there's also Mr. Chris Vega, who does, he does the counseling as well. And then Miss Schoenfelder, Deidre Schoenfelder. So those are all of our guidance counselors. Each one, Miss Schoenfelder does guidance for all the students who have specialized special programs with IEPs. That's that specific job for she's the guidance counselor for that. So usually you can find all of their emails on the directory. It's better to email than to make a phone call. The reason why is because every year their offices change. So someone's phone number changes. So make sure that you guys send emails. We're very good at responding. I 100% recommend that. And anything else going on with teachers, we're just, you know, getting back into the swing of actually being in the classroom. And it's good to have everyone here and, you know, following the protocols and being able to teach people in person.
Mr. Capizzo, can you answer those 2 questions? One that's above my question and one below about the guidance counselors and Pupil Path?
Give back what? I don't know what that is.
No, I also want to know about the guidance counselors, that it is required for a student to get a parent signature before they can change their schedule. And does a parent know if their children's schedule has been changed? As well as where do they get the code for the Pupil Path?
I don't have that one about the parent signature. I don't have that.
I can't
question.
see. I can't see that question either. Maybe that question was asked privately to you, Ms. Scott.
Oh, yeah, it was. My apologies.
Okay.
But it's a good question. I can say, at
can you
least
read
for
it to me?
myself,
Yeah.
I've never had to have a signature. The only reason I find out that my son's schedule changes is because I'm a helicopter parent. So I'm constantly looking at my son's schedule on Pupil Path, and if it's not right, I'll go to the guidance counselor and ask what's wrong. They give me a courtesy, but in all honesty, everything is dealt between the child and the guidance counselor. The guidance counselor has never stirred me wrong when it comes to my child. I honestly have to say, for my son's guidance counselor, they'll listen to my issues, then they'll speak with the child, and then they'll come up with the compromise that everyone's happy, but more leaning towards what your child's concerns are.
And then to answer the question that was mentioned about next week, yes, it is only for students. There's nothing set up for parents yet. I think that would have to be something, maybe that could be a workshop PTA puts together for any parent sort of technology stuff going on with that.
Pupil
yes,
Path, how do we get the code for Pupil Path?
Code from Pupil Path, there's two ways. Either you can email the guidance counselor, they'll give it to you, they'll send you a link to it, where they'll actually tell you the stuff. You can also ask me. I don't know how long we're gonna do this for, but you can always email me. I'll put my email in the chat. So then if you want to ask me for, like, if you need the code for either your student or for the parent, just shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to do that. Just give me some time, where it's a long meeting today. We got a lot of work to do.
If I could jump in, Mr. Capizzo.
Yeah, sure.
If you go to our website, www.alhs.nyc, you go down to announcements and you click the announcement feed, the Pupil Path registration codes are there. So it's my first two letters of last name and the last 4 digits of the student's ID number. If you have that information, you can get the parent code and the student code, and it's right up on our website.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so you don't need to email me because Mr. Robinson's right.
All right. Thank you. I see there are a few more questions, but I'm gonna hold them for now. I'm gonna move on. Do you have anything else for Teacher Corner?
Fortunately, no.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, old business, the only old business we have is just a reminder for anybody that would like to go and get a lot more information. The school does a phenomenal job on providing information through their phone blasts, but sometimes most of that information goes to the student, most likely through MS Teams or through Reminds. So the school does try, as they're sending out blasts, they'll send us emails to go and assist with trying to get that information to the parents as well. But remember, in high school, they are preparing these kids for real life and college. So they're slowly cutting the cord from the parents to allow the students to blossom. That was hard for me in 9th grade to learn, but I have to say, when you work alongside the guidance counselor, it is quite successful, and you do end up having the ability to watch your child grow. Everyone's asking for certain sites as well as Reminds, which I don't see here, but Mr. Capizzo or Mr. Robinson, do you have any details on Reminds?
Right now, we are trying to phase out Remind and program with the phone blast, email blast, and the new website design. So if you're not getting those phone blasts or emails, you need to give us, we don't have your correct information in our system. So we need your correct phone number and email so we can update our system. So to give us that, you can contact the guidance counselor, or you can email our records secretary, at willia5@schools.nc.gov.
Can you say that first part
Also
again? I didn't catch it.
Her name is Marcia Williams, so her email address is mwillia. They cut off the M and the S, and they put the number 5 after it, and it's at schools.nyc.gov. That information is also on the parent engagement FAQ, which I think you shared out, Ms. Scott, and is also on our website in the announcement feed.
And that's on this screen right here. For those of you who do have the video, we have parent engagement school contact tree. This is the main information for the guidance counselor as well as administration. I highly encourage, if for some reason you're not getting responses from the teachers, get with the guidance counselor before you get with the administration. A lot of times the guidance counselor is able to quickly correct the information before the administration.
Ms. Scott?
Yep.
It's fairly small font. It's hard to read. Can we make the information a little bit bigger, or should we just send people to the
Unfortunately, I
website?
can't, but that if I can't do that off my screen, but it is shown. I believe Miss Attwood, I'm sorry, Miss Sandor provided that information out in our information packet.
Yes, that is part of our info packet. It was as an attachment to the email invite to today's meeting, and it's posted on our Facebook group, and it will be included with the welcome letter packet that Mr. Robinson will be sending out as hard copy.
And it's also on the Abraham Lincoln News portal, is that correct?
Correct. It's in the school announcements site towards, I think it's 3 or 4 towards the top, I believe.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to expand it, but if you got the email from Abraham Lincoln PTA, it's in the information packet.
I believe he said he did.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. On the DOE website, that's www.schools.nyc.gov. They have the 2021-2022 school calendar year. Most of this information is already on the Abraham Lincoln High School website. What's not included is any events that are happening within the high school, which they have a separate calendar, and that's usually posted on their website as well. At current time, I think the only events that are occurring are any football, soccer, basketball games that they may have. Okay, I think I only have about 2 or 3 more slides. Actually, no, this is the last slide. So if anyone has any questions, Ms. Attwood, can you just go back and read some of these questions? Also, if anybody wants to raise their hand to ask any questions, Ms. Medina, I'll get with you 1 second. If no one has any questions, then I'll have the PTA Executive Board start detailing some information. Go ahead, Ms. Medina.
Hi, the parent that had the question in Spanish, it was about APRU or APRU. She said it seems like she registered and then keeps getting more information to sign up again. So who can she reach out to about this?
She can reach out to me directly. If it's a problem, register. What was the problem specifically?
It's she's getting a duplicate request to register the account, the child's account, or her account, her information.
duplicate request. Okay, yes, you can reach out to me directly. There's also a little in the Opera, there's a little chat feature for support.
Okay.
That it can be very helpful too. You just click on it and someone is right there offering support.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Make sure to
Robinson, is the
get her
support
email
offered in
address.
Spanish?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that what?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
We do. Yes, we have her email. She registered with the PTA.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? All right, if there's no other questions, or if you want to come back on at 6 o'clock for the principal, he'll be staying on a little bit longer so that people can ask the principal directly certain specific questions in the school. Actually, Mr. Capizzo or Mr. Robinson, can you discuss very quickly the mask mandate? There was somebody that was asking about that.
There's also a question on
And the quarantine status. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson, what do you want to answer?
Yeah, sure. So the mask mandate is that every student has to wear their mask covering their nose and their mouth throughout the day at all times. We are very compliant. Our students are very compliant. Everybody wants to stay safe. And it's that simple of a rule. Keep your mask on, keep your mask up. As far as the quarantine process, if a student is quarantined, they go into remote learning. And that's on Microsoft Teams. We have a remote learning guide on the website that just helps refresh anybody's memory of how to get on Teams. And we ask that those students just reach out to the teachers just to make sure they're all on the same page using the chat feature, which is a very familiar feature. And teachers are aware of who gets quarantined, but just making that connection can be helpful. And the city released, changed the quarantine policies a little bit. Starting Monday, if any student who is masked and 3 feet distance will not need to quarantine if there is a positive case. It would just be the student who had the positive case that would be quarantining.
Mr. Robinson, there's a follow-up question on vaccination, on quarantine. One parent says that I have a question about students on quarantine. My son has been quarantined due to a student who contracted COVID. And so far, only 2 teachers have posted assignments on MS Team. He feels that he's being left out of a lot of work. There's also a second question. Will there ever be a one-on-one with a teacher live while on quarantine? So students were quarantined for a number of days. Are all the teachers aware that they need to give assignments on MS Team? And the second question is, are there any one-on-one with a teacher live during that quarantine?
Yeah, sure. So that's why we suggest the students message the teacher on Teams, because the teacher is doing their job of teaching their 5 classes still, and providing that work online. So our teachers are very good, but they are still human. So when a student isn't quarantined, that student could probably just message the teachers. The work should be up there. Every teacher has work posted on Teams. The student just might need a little help accessing it. And what was the second question? It was a 2-part question, I think. What was the second part of that question?
Yes. Will there be one-on-one with a teacher live during the quarantine? Did you hear me, Mr. Robinson?
No, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Will there be one-on-one sessions with a teacher?
No,
live?
there are not one-on-one sessions available according to the to the contract right now. It's what we call asynchronous work, which is kind of posted work that the student will do. One feature that we love is
It seems like we lost Mr. Robinson's phone audio.
Mr. Capizzo, until Mr. Robinson fills in, can you assist with that comment?
From my understanding is that all the remote work is asynchronous instruction, which means that the work is able to be done without a live one-on-one teacher. Like when I had my quarantine for this week for some of my students, I was able to post like the videos and stuff of me actually teaching them it while they were doing it live. But yeah, it's only supposed to be asynchronous at this time. And, you know, I know it's a little rough right now because there are some kids who are quarantined, but with the new guidance that is coming on the 27th, as long as your child has 3 feet of social distancing, wears their mask, if there's a positive case in the room, as long as they have that going, they do not have to quarantine. So the only way that your child will quarantine is if they are positive. That's the bottom line. Or unless they were next to that kid, they weren't taking the distance, you know, all that kind of stuff. But even then, it's more along the lines of, you know, the only way you get quarantined now is positive case. And Monday the 27th, that is correct. The 27th is the Monday. That's when your child will come back. So if your child is quarantined right now, I'm checking the thing, because of the close contact, that's when it was. And the case was notified to us on, and I'm only speaking on myself because it affected my class. It was notified to me on Tuesday because it was self-reported on Tuesday. The quarantine started for those students yesterday, and they'll be quarantined for 3 days and will come back on Monday. So everyone comes back. So the only way he brings in his letter that he is negative is if he did test positive. If he did test positive, at least 7 days after, he has to come back with a negative test to show that it's okay. But that's the guidance with that. He doesn't need to come back as long as he wasn't one of the positive cases. That's how that works. If he was just close contact, just quarantine until Monday. He's back on. They are back on Monday.
Mr. Capizzo, there's also a question about math.
Hold one.
Oh, sorry.
Miss Medina has her hand raised. So
Oh,
before,
you're right.
yeah, let her go, and then that question. Go ahead, Miss Medina. I apologize.
Yeah, that could have continued. So no, just really quick, earlier in the chat, I dropped the info packet. So if any parents want to scroll through that, or I can drop it in again, just so that they can download it for themselves. That has our contact, all of the PTA members, the parent engagement letter with the contact tree, and slides with other resources for the parents, the calendars and things like that. So feel free to save that for yourselves.
I think what you're trying to ask, Ms. Attwood, is the question about, I heard that some students who are vaccinated are not keeping a mask on all day. Is
Yes,
this true?
that's the one.
Is that what you're acknowledging? No matter what, whatever your status is, mask must be on at all times. Teachers are keeping to the rules that masks are mandated, okay? As far as protocols, there are protocols in place for kids who are not following the guidelines, and those are being taken care of case-by-case basis, but under no circumstances is a student supposed to be not masked all day. They need to have their mask on, whether they go from class to class, whether they go from going into a room, masks have to be worn, period.
Thank you, Mr. Capizzo. Are there follow-up questions on any of these questions or a new question?
I actually just want quick clarity. This is Leah again. How long does it usually take the families to be notified? Apparently there was a case last week that the family wasn't notified until this week.
So I can't really speak on that. I can say that usually.
I
Go
can
ahead, Ms.
speak
Robinson.
about that a little bit.
Go ahead, Ms. Robinson.
So as soon as we get the notification from the situation room, the COVID-19 situation room, we send it out immediately. As far as I understand, we've had a lot faster notifications than some other schools. As soon as we get the case, we send it in. They give us the exact letter that we send out, and we send that out right away. I mean, I've been at home at 7 o'clock. I get it at 7 o'clock. I send it out. Maybe parents have gotten a notification at 7:30. So as soon as we get it, we send it out. As far as how long it takes for the situation room, that's kind of dependent on the case. But we've been very fortunate that it has been a pretty fast turnaround.
So, Mr. Robinson, the question was, I mean, it wasn't really a question, or one of the comments was that it took 5 days to be notified. Is that a specific case? Is that because we were not notified for 5 days?
I'm not aware of a case that took 5 days to get notification out.
Right, thank you. And then there's another question on the chat, which is, what is the average number of students per class?
We can fit 34 students in a class 3 feet apart. So probably the average class size is probably around 28. And it can be up as high as 34.
Thank you. Are there follow-up questions? Any questions for Mr. Robinson, or anything that we have not addressed and that you're wondering about? Well, Ms. Scott, looks like we did it.
Yeah, so I just put in the link in I'm sorry, on the chat, and we'll also put it on Facebook. There is a testing site which provides testing results for the school each time they're tested. And it'll give a breakdown of how many students to how many teachers are tested within that school. It'll give you a breakdown of how many were tested positive and whether it was students or whether it was a staff member. And I can tell you, no names are posted, it's just numbers. And what's really great about this, you can, how can I say, you can actually look back a couple of weeks and see that the school's ratio numbers for testing positive, I want to say is below, on average, has been maybe very, very minuscule, if any. It's not perfect, but the way they ensure the safety of the students and the staff, I have to say, is phenomenal compared to other schools. But I highly encourage everyone to go in there. You'll go in https://testingresults.schools.nyc. You'll put in the borough, you'll type in Abraham Lincoln High School. It'll give you a listing of each date that they were tested. I think they deleted last year's because I can't find that information, but every time the students and staff was tested, and you can compare it to other schools. All right, if nobody has any other questions, I ask one more time, if you could please sign in. Again, if we were at a real meeting in person, which hopefully one day we will be, I would be passing around a sheet. Please sign in through Google Forms, and if anybody would like to go and provide any donations, by all means, click on Cheddar Up. There's a link there. Anybody have any questions, concerns? All right, thank you so much. That'll be a close. I'm gonna stop recording. Please note, if you want to specifically come back at 6 to go and ask the principal questions directly. He apologized that he had to come off at so short this at 3 o'clock, but he will stay on longer this time. All right, I am gonna stop sharing as well as stop recording. Everyone, thank you so much for your time this evening. And, oh, you're very welcome. And for those parents who have specific questions pertaining to their child, please note that I wrote down your emails and we will be forwarding that information to the school for them to follow up to your specific problems. If anyone else had additional personal questions that they'd like to ask, you can email us directly, or of course you can go and email the guidance counselors, the teachers, or Mr. Capizzo, and Mr. Robinson. Everyone have a great night. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.